This content is brought to you by Scouts, the strongest Salesforce hub in the Nordics and Poland, bringing tech solutions to Danish banks.
As you can see, they will be talking about revolutionizing user experience in Salesforce. So Michał and Kacper, please join us on this stage.
Yes, hello, and let's start the presentation. Firstly, have you ever had a problem with layout configuration? Client comes and said it should look like this, and it should be there, and it should be hidden sometimes or not. And then we will try to find the solution how to reach clients' needs. And basically, why we are here. I'm Michał. I've been clicking around Salesforce 8 years for now. Once developer, now architect. In my free time, I'm collecting badges on the Trailhead platform. I have a few of them.
And I'm Kacper. I'm fearless Salesforce developer, but also when I'm not coding, you can find me enjoying the company of dogs or delicious chocolate. But before we start, you have to ask one very important question. What should we learn today? So today, you will discover a new approach to front-end view that's dynamic and easy to implement. It streamlines the view and enhances data clarity. How can we imagine what's that exactly? Let's review it on some basic business scenario. Let's say our client will have to have an account in Salesforce with two types, company and customer. We'll have some fields that should be universal for both of types, but some fields should be just for specific type. The first one is easy, name. We want it on customer and company both. The next one is employees. The employee's number should be only visible on company because the customer is a single person, so we don't want it on this customer. The next one is birth date, and we want it on customer, but we do not on company. The status field should be visible on the both of types, but with some logic, that it should be editable only during record creation. And the last one, also visible on the both of types, but with logic that it will be required if the contact type is equal to email. So as you can see, here's some logic. We want to hide something, we want to show something, we want to change the required or editable behavior. So how can we do this? What are the possible solutions?
Yes, so we can firstly think about the possible solution that for me as a developer, now the architect, if I heard that something should be configurable, accessible for different users, profiles, countries, brand, etc., the full custom solution is the first thing. But as we know, it will spend a lot of time, a lot of money. There can be perhaps bugs or issues later on. But let's think what we can also use here. Yeah, so we can try to create many record types, trying to assign for the different profiles, users, and layout to these record types, and try to somehow handle the users' needs and the vision and everything what they want. But last year, into the Salesforce comes dynamic forms, and we will focus about the dynamic forms during our presentation. But let's maybe start from the small story in our one project. That client comes to us 1.5 years ago and told us that, guys, our front end should look great again. After, I think, 8 or 10 hours development, adding different stuffs to the layout, page layouts, quick actions, etc., etc. It should be easy, clean, small, and fields should be as less as we can put. But also later on, we need to add something here. And after the meeting with the client, we define some points, what we should do on the layout. So we want to redesign existing Lightning record pages for objects and their record times. Sometimes we have the same layouts for different record types, sometimes different layout for the different record types. And next thing is that on the layouts, we are too many sections, because on the top we have the layout, later we have quick actions, and under this quick actions, another quick actions, and different tabs, different quick actions. And then user don't know where to go to put what and when and how. And of course, on the configuration of the layout, there were quick actions which should be displayed for specific users in some configuration, for some countries. Mainly mess on the layout. Next thing is that creation view, inline edit, and normal edit should be similar. So when we are creating, we should have a very similar layout as we go to the record itself and try to use the inline edit. And due to the fact that we are using quick actions and layout, the layouts had been completely different. And clicking edit button, it is the same as the creation layout. And as I mentioned a few minutes ago, for different profiles, countries, brands, so the subcomponent for the specific country should be possibility to configure different layout. So for example, for the Poland, different layout, for the Luxembourg, different layout, for the German, different layout, and also inside of these countries for some profiles, different layout, and other profiles, different layout. And we can have each combination of those elements, yes? So the profile, countries, brand, and also record types. So we have 4 things which we use to set which kind of layout we should see when we are coming, for example, to the account. And what is also important, that after redesign it should look like as the standard solution, because the project was huge and we cannot do redesign for the whole system in one release. And we need to start from one record type on one object, then ask client how it should look like, how they use this, and then if it's okay, then move on to the another record types, another object. And due to the fact that this was 1.5 years ago, to achieve all of those requirements, we can use only the full custom solution, because why not? And we need to create configuration for all of those 4 types of the records. And some pattern to display this information, and LWC components for all of this information, different components for the creation, inline edit, view, and also some path elements, and some numbers here. So for each redesign, so we can assume that the one redesign is one record type for the object. We had teams of 3 developers, and the whole redesign process with the development, some bug fixes, contact with the client, validations, everything is okay or not. Average, it takes between 60 and 90 man-days. Of course, the first redesign took 90 man-days. each next takes less, but it's still something around 60 man days. And due to the fact that this is the full custom solution, we have bigger chance of issues after the development. But last year, if I correctly remember, in the Q3, dynamic forms comes to SForce. And before one of the redesign of the account objects, one of the main record types, I did some trailheads and I saw that, oh, we have dynamic forms, so let's try to use this. And after a few hours of clicking and creation of some mocks and POC for the client, we figured it out that this is exactly what we need. In some cases, when this is not as complicated as they want, and also this is opportunity to force the client to simplify some things. And in the comparison, the redesign using dynamic forms, it could be done by one consultant team, let's say, because we are using only the standard solution, only the configuration of the layout, maybe some tricky flags or filters to show everything what we want to have on the layout. But the most beautiful number is here, that the whole development, it's also not the development, it's the configuration, yes? Takes 5 man days, and this is implementation, meeting with the client, validation, and fix some layout changes. So we can easily calculate this is 90% faster. And due to the fact that this is the standard solution, much less chance of bugs. And if we have something, we can write the case to the SForce support, or maybe they will help. And how to enable dynamic forms?
Yes, so that's a very good question, because you already have a theory that this solution is really good. Maybe it's the best. And have you ever tried to learn a bike, to ride a bike? I bet you do. And I promise you that configuring dynamic forms is much easier than riding a bike, and you don't need a side wheels. So ladies and gentlemen, you just simply open the desired object. In our case, it will be an account. And on the Flexi page, when you press the details element, you have an option to upgrade now to the dynamic forms. After pressing that, we'll have a guided step with the first screen saying us what exactly are the dynamic forms. On the next step, we are selecting the layout that we want to transform into the dynamic one. We have to select one and only one. And what exactly does it mean that we are transforming the layout? So all the fields from this existing layout will be transformed to this dynamic layout, including the sections. So after finishing this step, you will have configured dynamic layout. And as you can see, every single field is a separate element. Why I am focusing on this separate word? Because it's giving us a big opportunity to customize this. But how exactly can we customize a single field? When we select one field, and on the first table I show you that we want to hide employees when the account type is equal to company. So we are selecting employees, we are adding a filter. The filter can be based on some field, on device setup, maybe phone, desktop. But in our case, we want to create a filter that is basing on type when it's equal to company. So this field employees will show up. In other case, it will hide. So when I save this filter and I open the layout, I selected the type to company and the employees show up. I also added the same one but on the birth date field. So when I selected type to customer, yeah, you know it, the birth date show up, but the employees hide up. And focus on it, that's below. It's screen before save. So, ladies and gentlemen, it is dynamic before this happened, before we save the record. I also mentioned that we want to create an email field that will be required only in some situations. But how exactly can we set dynamic required field? So when selecting a field, I added already the two email field that they are both the same. But first one will have filter with equal contact type equal to email with behavior required. The second one below, as Michał is showing you, is with behavior known and contact type is not equal to email. Let's see in practice. We have the layout. I selected contact type to email, and the email below is required. But when I selected contact type to phone, the email is not required. And it's again happened before the save. Why I'm mentioning this? Because of course you can do a validation rule. But validation rule will launch after you will save. But this happened dynamic before. But not every chocolate, which I love, is as delicious as it looks like. Not every solution is as perfect as it looks like. Some solution has some limitations. I'd walk exactly out those limitations.
Yeah, so let's start from the limitation which we can find directly on the documentation. So speaking about the custom and the standard object, dynamic forms currently available for all custom objects and selected standard objects. So for example, on the account contact, I think opportunity, we can easily enable dynamic forms, but for example, on the event, it's not yet possible. I said yet because we are currently trying to redesign the event and we have some issues with this. Next is the field limit, so we can add up to 100 field column in the field section components. So backing maybe here to show, this is one field section, another field section and another field section. So to the one field section we can add up to 100 fields, but we can have many sections on the layout. But on the other hand, who is adding 100 fields to one section? Perhaps we want to create, for example, different configurations. So for example, some countries see this email field, some not. Some users see this birth date or not. But everything depends how many configurations we have on the layout and the section, because also we can put the filtering directly on the section. Let's back here. Yes, so migrate a page to dynamic forms, only field and section containing fields are included when we migrating a page to dynamic forms. Other elements like custom link or blank spaces are not included, which imply at this moment also that blank space are not supported, but we also can implement something here, maybe not implement but configured, so we can easily create formula field with some names and then translate this with the non-typical letters which is not presented, and then just add this straight field to the layout without the label, and this is treated as a blank field, blank space. Yeah, anyone here using the Internet Explorer 11 to the SForce issues? No, so we can go to the next point. Yeah. Very important thing is that when we hide fields, these fields are not being cleaned. So for example, when Kacper presented that we have different configuration for the company and customer, we have the birth date and the employees. For example, first we select the company, put employees, click save, then we edit it once again, change to the customer, put the birth date and save. Then in the database we have information in both fields. So in the employee and in the birth date we have an information about the values. Because we hide this field and we don't clean this field. Also, in example, when we editing when we have the company, we clean the employee, and in the same transaction, we switch to the customer and put birth date. Due to the fact that employee is not on the layout, it shouldn't be cleaned. But we also have workaround in the SForce for this one, so we can easily create, not workflow because it's not supported, we can create a flow to clean value on the field when we, for example, change from not company to the company or from not customer to the customer. So when we are switching from the company to customer, we can easily clean the employee field. And I think the most important thing here is that we're overwriting standard layouts. So during the configuration, we can either convert the layout or we can take the field section from the configuration, put a section somewhere on the layout, add, for example, 4 fields, which is not on the layout. We click save and we want to use layout as it was, plus this dynamic form with 4 fields. And when we are on the layout and we are trying to inline edit this is okay, this looks nice. But when we go to the edit button or we are trying to create new record, then we see only the dynamic forms. So the issue is that when we have at least one dynamic form on the layout, it will override the standard layout in all of the places. And to sum up, if we want to improve the overall appearance of the data, readability, transparency, and adaptation of views to different target groups without the need to create a custom solution,
we should consider dynamic force as the first solution displaying the data.
And that's all from us. Thank you.
Thank you. And if you have any questions, you can, of course, ask them now.
Thank you. Yes, I believe we have some time. Do you guys have any questions? Just let me grab the microphone. Are there any questions? I heard before you started your presentation that some of our contestants wanted to ask you some difficult questions. Okay.
Thanks.
Yeah. There you go.
Yeah. Hello. My name is Anastasia. Thank you very much for this presentation. Yeah, dynamic forms are really a great feature. It is very useful. I wanted just to ask, you said that some standard objects are not yet supported. And also I faced this issue in my experience. For example, a client wanted to update product flexi page on some criteria. And I wanted to ask, do you still use some fully custom solutions in case if this object is not supported in dynamic forms, or you use any workarounds for this?
At this moment, with this client, when we starting the when the clients start thinking about the redesign of the layout, first ask us what we could do here, because they saw how it could look like in the custom solution, because we have some redesign objects on the custom solution. And firstly, they ask, could we redesign this object using dynamic forms? If yes, let's go. If not, maybe let's wait to the next release. And maybe it will add this for this object, maybe not yet. But if this is a critical object for the client, we starting with the full custom solution. And one times we have a situation that we start with full custom solution, and then dynamic forms for this object comes, and part of the object had been redesigned with the full custom, another with the dynamic forms. And for now, they use two solutions in one object, but I heard that they want to migrate this custom to the standard one. And one important thing, speaking about the dynamic forms, I think in this release in Salesforce we can also use the related object fields on the dynamic forms. So for example, when we are on the contact, we can add a field, so that point to the account and the, for example, number of employees of this account. So we shouldn't create the formula field to take information from our account, but we can easily add the field in the dynamic forms, which goes through the relationship to the parent.
Okay, I can see another question out there in the back of the room. Maybe we can.
Hi. Oh, okay.
Hello.
Hi, my name is Karol. I have a question. Do you have experience with creating something mind-blowing? I mean, using dynamic forms. The customer said, wow. I mean, because we were talking about layout here, and I'm curious about really something special.
Yeah, so the main mind-blowing things using dynamic forms is that we can changing the layout during the changing of the fields. Yes, so when we, for example, select, change the information, when we change the type of the contact from this email to phone, we can easily change the validation of the field. So mainly this is not change validation of the field, this is the different field with the same field with different configuration, but it's during the user clicking. And the most mind-blowing thing which we did is that when we are speaking about the opportunity and the path and the process of the opportunity, when we have possibility to change the status, when we are changing the status, we are adding new section to the layout. So for example, we are on the first stage, we see only first 7 or 10 fields. Then when we switch to the next stage, we present first section on the bottom and the newest section on the top. So for example, if user wants to switch from first stage of the opportunity to the 4th or to the 5, then in one click they will see 5 sections, and each section have validation of the fields which should be filled in, that we can speed up the process of the changing layout. Yes, because when we presenting new section, we can easily force the validation for the user that we need to at least put some values. Yes, after the calculation, if this is bigger or smaller from this value, it depends on the validation rules. Mainly, we also can try to do this on the layout, but it's not that easy one as it could be. But validation rule here, it's good enough. But if we are speaking about the mandatory of the fields, it's really nice for the client.
Okay, do we have another question? I think that's all for the Q&A session. So now please, Michał and Kacper, please stay on the stage. And also, if we have an EXO team with us here, there should be some of the people from an EXO team out here. Okay, ladies, please join us on the stage because Pavel will be awarding you with our special SForce award. Yeah, of course. I just want to give you the right one.
Dobrze, dobrze.
Is it this one? Yeah. Okay. Yeah, if you could go to the center of the stage so that we can have a nice photo of you guys. Okay, and a huge applause for an EXO